On April 30th, 2014, a simple wellness check turned fatal when Milwaukee Police officer Christopher Manney fired 14 shots into Dontre Hamilton, here in downtown Milwaukee's Red Arrow Park. Soon after the shooting, local filmmaker Erik Ljung began chronicling the aftermath, providing an intimate look at the Hamilton family as it transformed through politics, protests, and profound grief. 3 years after filming, Ljung has released his feature documentary, The Blood is at the Doorstep, and it's this year's centerpiece screening at the Milwaukee Film Festival. It's a local issue with national significance, and it examines homicide investigations, mental illness, the activist movement, and the media. I sat down with Ljung and others to discuss the film, which has been hailed by The Hollywood Reporter as an urgent report from the front line of an American crisis.
I think at times documentary film is more and more becoming de facto, long-form journalism.
I met Ljung at About Face Media, where he and his editor, Michael Volman, have spent many hours putting the film together. Ljung said he was inspired to pursue documentary filmmaking after attending the Milwaukee Film Festival back in 2009. I asked him why he decided to focus his first documentary on the Hamilton family.
I was interested in the story early on because I think there was a lot of questions for people in the community about the amount of shots and how highly visible and public that park is. And it was all in response to a wellness check of someone not suspected of a crime. It was unique in the fact that it was the very first case in the country to be tested under a mandatory outside investigation law. The Michael Bell law was passed 7 days before Dontre was killed.
The decedent is Dontre Hamilton, a violent, combative, mentally ill individual.
Our goal with the film was not to editorialize it as little as we could. It's a documentary film. We're taking 500 hours down to a 90-minute film. We tried to talk to everybody involved in the case and really let them speak for themselves and tell their own truths about what happened that day. The Hamilton family really, I think, grew a lot through the course of this. They really were apolitical. They weren't necessarily involved in a lot of the politics and understanding the legal system, but they were kind of forced into this fight. We don't often see a family such as the Hamiltons where they're directly involved in kind of organizing around what happened. They really became leaders in the community on issues not just related to Dontre, but in all sorts of different activism efforts.
So this is Dontre here, Damien, and then myself right here.
Nate Hamilton, Dontre's older brother, said he was originally skeptical about giving Ljung such close access to his family. But ultimately, it was his frustration with how the Hamiltons were portrayed in 10 o'clock news soundbites that made him reconsider.
When he first said it, it was like, I don't know, let me talk to my family about that. I don't know if we want a camera just following us around all the time, we started seeing the media, and the media was portraying just a little snippet, just a little soundbite of what we were really protesting, what we were really trying to accomplish. So I was like, you know what, maybe Erik Ljung would be a great addition to us showing our story. He was the baby, and we couldn't let nothing happen to the baby. I think this documentary is strong. I think it's powerful. It's a very transparent documentary. And I think in order for us to ask someone for transparency, we demand it from a city, and we should also show transparency within ourselves and be respectful of people to know who we really are, instead of speculate. We speculate on what a system is supposed to do, on how it's supposed to respond to these issues, and I don't want no one to speculate on our family, our love for Dontre, our love for this community. I think that this film will clarify that. See what we gotta go through? Working with Dontre got me into this crap.
Dontre and Nate, they actually grew up like twins.
Ljung's critically acclaimed documentary wouldn't be here today if not for the Milwaukee Film's Brico Forward Fund, which provided money and production resources. Milwaukee Film Executive Director Jonathan Jackson said it's a success story about how his organization is supporting local filmmakers, and he's excited to screen Ljung's documentary to a full house at the Oriental Theater.
I am looking forward to. My highlight of the film festival is that centerpiece screening of The Blood is at the Doorstep. It's a challenging film. I think it's incredibly well made, but I think it's going to be challenging for the community to watch and grapple with, but I always leave with a message of hope from that film.
With so many questions remaining unanswered and calls for reform, the pain is still real, but so is the hope. After screening at the Milwaukee Film Festival, Ljung will take his documentary throughout the country, and he hopes to spark a national dialogue.